Okay. Welcome to our lesson today. We are going to be overviewing DRJ and Associates, and you are our fabulous UA interns. We are so pleased to have you here with us today. Thank you for coming in person. So we're going to talk about what are our objectives for our training. We want to cover some bases about who we are, what we do, but then we're going to break into some things on contracting. You're going to understand several different areas that we're going to go into. So before I get there, will someone take a moment and just read to me what it says here on the screen? Yes. I feared boredom and mediocrity much more than I feared failure. And really what that is about is stepping outside of yourself. And with our motto at DRJ, we are a growth mindset. We're about positivity. We're about how do we change even the language that we use, that we've been programmed with, that make us not who we're supposed to be. We want to make everyone feel that growth mindset. And that's how we plan our business planning. Is all around that. So if you understand that, then we're going to just kind of jump into some things. Now, we talked a lot about value, and you all saw the Philip Kotler videos, correct? Yes. Philip Kotler talked about value, and when he talked about value, we're going to get into that. We're also going to talk about what are certifications, okay? How many of you are familiar with just any kind of certification? Raise your hand. Okay, just tell me any one that you think about, any type of certification. And you can speak up too so I can hear you. Electrician, that's the type of certification. Yep. Certified, yep. And what other kind of certifications can you have? Cosmetology, that's another certification. Yep. Any others? We just talked about a gentleman who won an award. What kind of a certification you think he has? Carpentry, that's correct. So, yes, these are types of certifications. They're employment certifications. What we're going to be talking about is business certifications, so you can learn the difference. And we're going to also be talking about how does networking create opportunities, and we're going to use one of our business expansion opportunities that we are going to use as an example, and how does this training fit in the bigger picture. So first question, when you think of value, what comes to mind? Work? Oh, their worth. Thank you. Their worth. Yes. And I apologize for this fan being so loud. What else? What else do you think of? Worth. That was great. Their importance. Yes, that's great. Anything else? Okay, these are all really great answers. Now we're going to kind of adapt this to our thoughts around business. Okay. So understanding value-based business, it's not about price. It's about solving a problem better than anyone else. And so that's what we do. You can be small business, you can be big business. It's about how do you solve problems, how do you mitigate risk. So let's just kind of think about the first three pillars of value. First, functional value. What a service does that fixes that problem, okay? Emotional value. How it makes you feel, right? Have you ever watched something on TV and all of a sudden you're just like, oh my God, I'm so worked up, right? It's how you actually provide that service. How many of you have gone somewhere and you felt like you didn't get good service and it just made you upset? Or you seen your relatives go through that? Let me raise my hand, okay? Yeah. How many of you have gotten great service and you're just like, I gotta tell everybody how great this is, right? It's emotional, right? It's happened to me too. One of the statistics they talk about marketing is people either going to give reviews on Google, for example, for what they really like or what they really don't like. That little bit in the middle is like, okay, just keep it washed. Maybe my food was a little cold, but she was nice, or, it was maybe chilly atmosphere. The tables might have been dirty, but the food was really good, right? It's not horrible. They won't say much, right? But if it's really great or it's hair in the food, right? I saw a bug in the eggs, right? On Google, right? So just think that and think about that emotional value, that trigger. And that's what we're really looking for. Is you're trying to either keep it on the positive, but you're really looking for that. And then the social value. How does the service position in society? And remember our Costco versus our Target conversation, right? That's where the society hits. Target wasn't necessarily providing bad service, were they? Everything was priced right. What about Walmart? Everything was priced right? It was there, it was easy, right? It provided the functional and maybe the emotional needs. But then it kind of hurt that emotional when you start thinking about the societal value and how they thought about DEI, right? And that rollback. It just kind of showed that you really didn't care about us as a society. So that's an example. So in thinking about our first interactive activity, I want to hear from you. First question is, what value does that company provide? And think about that. And then apply that to DRJ and what value does our business provide? I kind of gave you an example of something that we did today to change really the game for a whole small business owner in a town nobody even knows, right? So kind of think about that. And your example is people don't just buy Nikes for the shoes, right? They buy it for the identity. Why are you wearing the shoes you're wearing? I see you got on New Balance, you got on Jordans, you got on old school, like throwback Jordans. Yours are more modern Jordans, and I can't see your shoe. Is that Adidas? Nike, okay, my glasses. See, I clocked it, right? All the brands and the eras, right? So talk to me about this. What do you think we provide as far as value? You don't have to, there's no wrong answer here. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So just for the sake of the air, he said that we really are trying to help our businesses, paraphrasing, if I hear you correctly, help our business find value, find themselves, and actually be competitive in that marketplace and really just grow, is what I'm hearing you say through the paraphrasing. Okay. Is there any other thoughts about value that we might provide? Say it loud for me. Financial? Oh, he took your answer. Okay, sorry. That fan. Come closer so I can hear you. Come closer. So I don't have to be like, what'd you say? I don't want to yell at you or feel like you're having to yell at me. I apologize for it being a little warm in here. But you're such a smart individual wearing that state jacket. I know you're ready. You are ready. Go green. Yes, thank you. I heard it. Okay, so any more answers here as we come closer, you can hear. Yes, pushing business above and beyond. So in learning more about what we do, you'll start to find where there's value and maybe even value that we didn't even know that we had. And you'll help us to share that story, because that's part of it, is understanding and sharing the story. You're not buying Nike because of the swoosh, right? It's what it gives you when you wear them. It's not just about the comfort, because you can put several types of shoes on that are comfortable, right? But it's about that, what it means to have that Nike on, your identity. It's a part of your identity when you put that on. Your brand. Their brand becomes your brand. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Are there any thoughts before I move on? Okay. So selling a tangible business is our real work strategy. What we're trying to do and how we're trying to grow our business. And so DRJ sells knowledge. It's something that you cannot put in a box. We sell strategy. Actually, how do you get from point A, B, C, D, E? We've had clients like Albion Economic Development Corporation who we've worked with, who created a 7-point plan. And that 7-point plan was first introduction, then helping to find out what they wanted to do business. And the third part of the plan was actually the business plan itself. That fourth part of the plan was access and helping them get ready for loans. That fifth was actually applying. And then sixth and seventh was like a two-way road. Either you were going through growth or you were going to succession. Say that with me, succession. Okay, do you know that show on TV, Succession? Okay, write that down. Go Google that. I think it's on HBO, one of the networks. Just Google it. It's been on a few seasons. It's a big power broker family, and it's all about succession. There's also a few other Tyler Perry shows, Family Business, and a few others that deal with succession issues and like drama in a dramatic way. Succession is really about you are in business, right? But what happens when I get old? Who I give it to? Or what happens when I get ready to retire? Or what happens when I just want to sell the business because I want to divest because now I have a new situation? You know, my band, now we wrote a song that now I'm getting Grammys off of, let's say. And I don't want to go be a world-round producer. I don't want to be the CEO of, DRJ and Associates anymore full time. Who do I give it to? Do I give it to you? I hope so. Do I give it to you? I don't know. That's what succession planning is about. It's planning for your future, your road off into the next pathway. So we do plan for all of that. Help companies all through those stages, just like those 7 steps. And we also are being paid for our expertise. When you have connections, you have resources, and you have access, that is valuable. And people pay for that. How many of you know George Foreman? Okay. You know George Foreman? Okay, how many of you use the George Foreman grill? It's probably easy for you to cook at home on one. Make a whatever kind of meal. Show of hands. You haven't cooked until you use the George Foreman now. You need a George Foreman in your life. So if you go to college, chances are you might get a George Foreman because it's something you can easily pop in and make your meals and not just a microwave, okay? It's affordable. George Foreman is a boxer, correct? What else about George Foreman? How old was he when he won his 2nd championship? He was a little bit younger than what I am now. And I'm definitely not in no boxing age. So it was an anomaly. I think he was 40 years old when he became a champion, world champion. You know how hard it has to be a world champion at 40? But he was always positive, and he had a positive disposition. He was able to take just his brand, his name, and attach it to a product that he did not create, and it made him a several times over millionaire. Like, I think he made over $500 million as the spokesperson for the George Foreman grill. He basically gave him his name. So you can understand how much you can make off of just your name once you have a brand and you develop a brand. So it's important for us to utilize our brand in the same way. So the key is to sell intangibles and not, the key is that we sell intangibles. So you can see the rest on the slide here. For the discussion, will someone read the first question here for me? Yes. Why would a business pay for something they cannot see or touch? People do it all the time, right? This is what happens in America on April 15th. And a lot of people are already doing it. Tax. You go to H&R Block, right? One day y'all gonna be filing taxes real soon. Next year, right? When your parents stop claiming, whoever stops claiming you on their taxes, right? You're gonna have your own taxes. Can you see the tax preparation? You know it's prepared. You get a final document, but you're paying for that person to know the laws, to know the statutes, right? You can't see what's in their head. You don't know if they know the numbers. What happens when you get a bad tax person you trust? But what happens if they do your taxes wrong? You get in trouble for it. That's absolutely right. You can go to prison. Ask Wesley Snipes what happened when he got the wrong people to do his taxes, right? So, okay. That's question that was very good answers there. How do consultants and service-based businesses prove their value? The person there. So I just gave you an example today where I'm going to be writing some press releases for the work we do, right? There's no way to tangibly know how to tie DRJ to someone getting an award or being coached. Sometimes you have to give them something to package it with, and that's where you share your story. So if you're selling a business that you can't touch, taste, see, it's easy for someone to be on Instagram like, ooh, look at my ribs, and they're all glistening with the sauce all on it. I can't say, ooh, look at my ribs, right? or they're going to think I'm weird. So, how do I sell this, right? Right. So now you see where we have to build value. Okay, so we're going to segue. Is there any questions about that? Okay, moving on. I'll try to speed this up. I know we ain't got all day. And beauty is, I have you all summer, so whatever we don't finish, we'll keep going, but we're going to get through this today. And I didn't anticipate having such a fabulous day on our other session, so we're going to just keep going. If we get into session 2 before we end, we'll just keep going. And hopefully our friend Anaya, she's going to catch up because we're going to send her these slides. And it'll be your job as a team to help fill her in on what she possibly missed, because there was an emergency at the school today, okay? So I heard there was a fire, okay? All right, does everybody hear their assignment before we move on? You're going to help your teammate, correct? Okay, all right. So you figure out which one of you is going to take the lead on contacting her and helping her understand these concepts, okay? Okay. All right, because that's what team leads do. You look out for your teammates. Okay, so understanding the Unified Certification Program. Have you ever heard of a Unified Certification Program? Is this Greek right now to you? Yes. Okay. No, he said no, but his eyes said yes. Yes, what's your question? No, it's not. Okay. So, what is a UCP? This is, remember I said you guys are going to be some cold individuals? I promise you, it's going to be people that you go home right now, your family, and be like, what? It is a nationally recognized certification system for businesses to qualify for federally and state-level government contracts. It is the door to the money. Administered by state governments in collaboration with federal agencies. So this is who certifies you. Remember we were talking about those certifications like electricians and all that. So I now am an electrician. I have a certification. And now I'm going to get a designated certification so that I can now go do business with the government and be an electrician for the government. And when I say the government, that means your school building. DRJ and Associates is signed up as a contractor for Detroit schools, okay? That is the doorway in. That's one of the doorways in. So when you get on one of these unified lists, I will explain who certifies in a minute, but let's talk about first this list. So first you have the DBE, and that is Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. Who wants to read the first bullet and tell us all what does that mean? Yes, go ahead. Yes, look, I don't know, it was Jameer, Jayla, who raised their hand first? Wait, I make sure I got everybody's name right, because I'm seeing you on the screen, and some of you don't show me your cameras. Jameer, Jalen, Jameer, Jalen, Jameer, Mr. Christian, Fountain. Yes, okay, boom, 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 boom. See, this is why y'all need to see your faces, okay. Now, sir, tell me, small businesses started that, helps that first bullet.
Those small businesses compete with federally funded contracts and using transportation.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct. That is correct. So what does that mean in real time? Okay, 375. How many of you know the 375 highway to go downtown? Or 94 or 96? How many of you are driving yet? Driving? Want to drive? Wish you could drive? Had a car to drive? Okay. You have your licenses? Not yet. Okay. So when you get your license, you're going to learn these highways because they're all your major highways. In order for me, you, or anybody to work on those highway projects and get a bid, we have to be certified first. If we want to be classified under the set aside, which is literally a set aside of projects for various classifications, DBE. So that's that. Okay, now I'm going to read the next one, the MBE, okay? And that is the Minority Business Enterprise. Tell me about this next bullet. What does that say? Anyone?
Recognizes minority businesses for corporation, government contracts, state, local agencies, and MSC.
All right, so you see that now you know that women can get certified like that. Disadvantaged business, which is disadvantaged means us as minority, African American owned businesses, any other Hispanic owned, Asian owned, any of the disadvantaged categories. And they classify them disadvantaged because this is a new language and age. It used to be minority owned, and then they elevate. And DEI and even anything around that is under attack. So they'll probably call it something different in the future, but right now it's called disadvantaged business. All right, so we see the women owned. We see the minority owned, which you see MBE, you see DBE, and you see the SDVOSB. That is service, disabled, veteran, owned, small business. That's a lot, right? Veterans also fall in that category too. Okay, so read that last bullet there, or the second to last. Provides access. Start at the top. Anyone, one of my Jalen's, one of my Jameer, one of my Jalen's, or Mr. Fountain. Come on, whichever one. Right. Okay. And who wants to read the last bullet? Yes, sir. Okay, so now you see who does what, and you see what bullet goes with what, and you see all the acronyms. These acronyms they throw around like soup. And so they don't use the long terms. Get familiar with these acronyms. You're going to have this PowerPoint also to study. You want to save this. This is like, again, people pay good money for this. How state certifications work. Okay, so there are 2 ways that you can get certified. Well, 3 and be on that list, but we're going to talk through all of this. Each state, every state in the union has a certification process. You can be certified in all 50 states, which means you have unlocked business at all levels, state, local, in all 50 states. DRJ and Associates, we are trying to be certified, and we're working on our DBE for Michigan. We will then be also going for Ohio, Indiana, Florida, Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, because there's projects and opportunities throughout all of them. And we'll talk about where we're going next, because that's the later slide. Okay, so businesses apply through their UPC portal. To get started, you have to have ownership. You have to be 51% of that category owned. So I am a sole owner. I have consultants, I have partners. There is no one else that sells my shares yet. I have not offered my shares to anyone. So if something happens to me, my son, by my will have all of the things, right? But there really isn't, from a business standpoint, I haven't finished my succession planning yet. I want to work on that. I'm sorry? I'm a 100% owner. So I qualified because of that, but you have to be 51% owner. So let's say I had a Caucasian male partner. As long as I'm 51% of the share ownership, he would have to buy out 59 or 49% of, I would have to buy out 49% of his shares basically for me to be sole owner. I'm still the owner. Okay, why is that important? Because people play with that ownership all the time to get these certifications and they don't have the right ownership. So that's why the state and the government verifies. You have to submit a department, and so I am submitting through MDOT, because you can get certified through the airport, DBE office, the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Office, MDOT, Michigan Department of Transportation, or ding, 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 Detroit. So y'all being Detroit residents right now can actually certify. You start a business, $25, register it with the licensing, and you can get certified as a disadvantaged business enterprise right now because you're a Detroit resident and you would be on the UCP list for whatever category that is. Just think about that. Marinate that on a minute. I saw you all start smiling like, wait, we can do what? We can get on this list? Yes, you qualify for this list as well. Because the 3 certifying agencies, you actually live in the city of one of them. And just being a resident of the city and starting your business here and registering it here, you automatically would be eligible for that. And you will just check your ownership. And then the other is undergo the review. Okay, that's step 4. Okay, and that is actually them verifying that you are who you say you are. Okay, I'm sorry, that's number 3. And then number 4, read number 4 for me, somebody.
Receive certification.
Okay, so that's when you actually get that certification. So now, mind you, you could be certified in massage therapy. Okay, and we talked about different types of professional certifications. You could then, as a massage therapist, register with the airport as a DBE, and then guess what you could do there? Say it loud. Have your own business where? that, but in the airport first. But then anywhere else that recognizes the UCP designation, we'll talk about how that works. So yes, you can get you a small situation with the right funding, have a massage license, and open up a little boutique. And they actually are seeking minority, small, veteran, and other businesses. They have a set aside for those opportunities. Okay? All right. Let me get there. Okay. So, I got that. Okay, so this is our opportunity to kind of hear from you a little bit. What certifications might help a business you know? Number one is the first question. And this is, again, no wrong answers, but just think about the businesses that you know, people who cut grass, people who do hair, people cook, people who fix cars, people who do, maybe attorneys, whatever, businesses you know, anybody you know. And think about what certifications might be good for them. And we're going to put the little certifications back up so you can see them. Okay, these are your classifications. And you think about all those classifications. You have the disadvantaged business enterprise, the minority business enterprise. You have the service disabled veteran owned business. I apologize, I was a little glare, lost it. So those are your classifications. Do you know any folks that fall into these categories? That's the first question.
Somebody who's trying to start like a small little business.
Or already in business. Anybody. You don't have to be a new business to do this. Any business. Matter of fact, you need to kind of be in business, because if you're too new, you don't have the documentation. So I believe you need to be in business at least a couple years, I want to say. And I will have to verify that. I've been in business long enough that I fall outside of that. I should have did this a couple years ago, guys. It's just, I've been busy helping other people with their businesses. Now I want to do it for me. So yeah. So going back to your answer, think a little bit about that, because I want to explore that deeper, what you're thinking.
Right here, DBE.
A DBE? What kind of business would be a DBE? Who are you thinking? Just let you know. Any business, any business owner you know. Any business you've heard of.
Small business, fresh business, make food, like that's like.
Yep.
Like getting started small, not really up there.
Right there, yeah. So you said food, caterers. Caterers are actually great to be on this list. Government buys food. You got events, you got conferences, you got fairs, you got receptions, you got awards, and everybody wants food. In order for them to purchase with that vendor, they have to be certified under the programs. You see what I'm saying? So they can't just shop with anybody. They have to shop with the people who in that list, on their list. So that's how a lot of people get cut out of opportunities, is because they're not on the list. Think about that. So I guess it was a trick question. Pretty much, if you fall into any of these categories, you can be. So that was good. You said anybody who had, and again, it doesn't have to be a new business. You want to be actually a little more established, because certain new businesses, when on like highway contracts, you have to have bonding for millions of dollars. You have to have staffing. You're hiring engineers. You know how much engineers make, right? So you got to have like an engineer on the books for maybe 5 years, where you have precedent, is what they call it. You have to show pre-qualification. So that means I've had so many jobs paving the highway, or the my neighborhood driveways, right? Which then led me to now the city now had me paving the school driveway, right? And now I'm trying to apply to do the parking lot of the Secretary of State. Right? They have to hire somebody to do that parking lot. They have to show that they have over so many years. But just anybody who's doing sidewalks and pavement can't come and get that contract. You got to have some of these things that we're talking about. So there's also small business designations that also work too. And the DBE also counts non-minority small businesses. And you have to have a certain threshold of ownership where you're still in that, okay? Not trying to teach you all things in one day, because I know this is a lot. Okay, so we're moving on. We are on we're getting almost there, okay? We're over halfway through. So the power of networking. We just had an assignment and we're segueing. Is there any more thoughts on the UPC list, DBE list? Because I want to kind of segue into another topic here. Okay. And again, you're not expected to retain all this in one day. I'm just trying to scratch the surface with you so that you start to get curious enough to start looking into some of these things yourself, because you're going to want to be able to utilize these resources in your own life, not just to work for DRJ. So the power of networking is a real case study. So how did DRJ learn about this project in Micronesia? Well, number one, it was through relationship built over years of consulting, networking, and positioning. And number two, the government contracting landscape is opening doors for our global expansion. So number one of my contacts who formerly of the former presidential administration, former head of our Veteran Affairs for the state, who then went on to be the federal Veteran Affairs liaison to the president, is now a judge. Follow all of this. I started mentoring this person. I want you to hear this. Mentoring this person when they were in college. Sometimes the people that you mentor can one day be your boss, one day be your client, one day be your partner. So because I had no idea about this opportunity with Micronesia, guess what we learned? That Micronesia needs Veteran Affairs Services because there is a new designation that they're missing that. Micronesia is one of our contiguous states. So Puerto Rico, Guam, Micronesia is an example of that, okay? Well, guess who is the architect of our state Veteran Affairs programs that this person knows about, because they were a student taking part of them as a veteran themselves. This person who made this referral. I am the first of 8 that created our veteran-friendly schools program. Think about how valuable that is, that knowledge and the framework knowledge that is I have proprietary control over. I can take that anywhere, right? Right. Hence, we're going to Micronesia. All right, so this is how you can think about this. So, thinking back to your network assignment, what did you learn? Get you a long way. Yes, yes.
I learned that networking really expands who you, and what you're trying to get across. Like, it gets you out there and helps you, more helping hands, basically.
Yes, yes, yes. So he said it gets you a long way. He said it gives you more hands. All of those things are true. One of the things I want to say in that is your net worth is your net worth. I'm going to say it again. Your net worth is your net worth. You could have not a single dime in your pocket, but if you have somebody that you can call in your network and you've built in what we will talk about in future discussions, social capital, meaning you've poured into that bank and now it's time to get something back out that bank. Not because you are making friends with people because you want something from them, but it should be a genuine exchange of, meaningful exchange. But now you got some social capital. You might not have a dime, but you have that, right? So your connections are the most valuable. We would not even be in business, or I wouldn't even be talking to you right now if it was not for my network. I would not have been able to start this business if not for my network. And my network is very strong and undervalued and underutilized. And we're going to figure out how to use them more, because when I think about all of the followers and I think about all of the connections in the phone and the people that we connect with and the conversations that I've had over the last even several weeks, just talking about you guys, and so excited at how many people want to meet you, because they all want to meet you. You don't know how many people want to meet you. It's just so amazing. So that you're going to have a network that you will have for the rest of your life. So the person that referred us this business, let me start over. I found their resume in a pile, and we were looking for veterans to highlight for the reasons why you want to hire a veteran. and they were in law school, and their professor, going back to networking, sent them to me and said, this is someone. And it changed everything. So many years later, because of their work and their visibility, the governor appointed them into their position. So many years later, the president appointed them. So we literally, DRJ and Associates, was touching the White House off of our network. I'm pretty sure with our network, we probably can touch several governor's offices in this country. If I just think hard enough. You see what I'm saying? So you imagine how valuable your network is? I would have never known about, you think I was thinking about Micronesia? Who was thinking about, are you thinking about Micronesia? No, where is Micronesia? I'm gonna make y'all figure that out because we're gonna talk about where Micronesia is in a minute. We're gonna tell you. All right, so last thing. If you were advising a business on networking, what would you tell them? Yes. Be confident in who you are. That's great. That's great. What else? Try to make connections first. Yes. What else? What else, Jalen? Mr. Fountain. What else? Because I see it brimming in your mind. Okay, your friends are right now. You're hanging out with your homies. I don't even know if y'all call them homies. Your crew, your guys, your peoples, right? And they're like, yeah, man, there's this thing for college, and I might meet some people. I don't know if I want to go to that, man. That's crazy. What you going to tell them? You should go. Why should they go? Like Jameer, he got the answers today. Why should he go, Mr. Fountain? You gonna say, man, just stay, hang out with us. Don't even worry about it. What you gonna tell them? You gonna tell them to go or stay? Stay or go? Go. Stay or go? Go. Stay or go? Stay or go? Mr. Andre, what you gonna tell the friends? It's time to network. Should they go to that networking session? What you gonna tell them? You're gonna tell them to go, right? Because you just never know who you're gonna meet. So one of our clients, the Michigan CPAs, I crashed a dinner with one of your city council members. We'll get into that later. While I was at this policy conference, I was not ready the first. I have been in business all but 10 minutes. I don't even think I have business cards. I get to talk, I know my stuff. I get to talking to one of the heads of Michigan CPAs. She gives me some advice. I take the advice. I get a call about maybe, 6 months later. Hi, we would like for you to be a keynote speaker at the Michigan CPAs conference. Who, me? I was like, huh? Yes. Oh, a few months later. Oh, and by the way, we would like you to create our 12-month leadership academy for our junior underlings. And we want you to talk about networking in that too. Networking. Would not be in business without it. All right. Micronesia. These slides have links that are live. And so when you receive this, actually, you already have the slides in your email. Micronesia. Let's take who would like to read about Micronesia out loud. Okay, Mr. Jalen.
Federated States of Micronesia is a country spread across the western Pacific Ocean, comprising more than 600 islands. Micronesia is made up of 4 island states: Pohnpei, Kotler, and Yap.
Good job. I do not know how to pronounce them yet either, so thank you. You did good. And I believe Pohnpei might be Pohnpei. It sounds right. Pohnpei. Kotler, I'm assuming Chuk or Chuck. I don't know, like Chuck's the shoes or Chuk. I don't know. We're going to find out. I'm going to learn it before I get there. So we don't go anywhere looking crazy, right? And yeah. So, okay, keep going.
The country is known for palm-shaded beaches, very dives, and ancient ruins, including non-Mondo, sunken baseball temples, and myriad vaults that extend out the lagoon on Pompeii.
Yes. Doesn't that sound beautiful? Look at it. Everything that I would ever dream of. Like, that's why I was like, which one of y'all want this business that I can hand over to you one day? Because we're going to be over here in Micronesia. Now, you can come with me if you want, but if you want to stay. Yeah, okay. That part, like, y'all like, wait. I'm like, yeah. And it's real. Like, this is real. We can really do this. It's not crazy. And this is actually real. Does it feel real? It feels like a dream almost, right? Like Biggie, it was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazines, and I did. All right. So, real world opportunity. Okay, so the Michigan Minority Supplier Development Conference, or COMSO, is one of your certifying agencies. So there is the government certification side, there is the corporate certification side. You can get both. You can be a woman-owned, veteran-owned, disabled-owned, and that's where the corporate side is. That's if I want to go work for Kellogg, and Kellogg needs a training seminar created for them, for their HR team. And that is not unfounded. Like, that could really happen, okay? If we can go to Micronesia, we can definitely do Kellogg. Like, Kellogg is nothing to us, right? Okay, so that could happen, right? But it helps if I have that certification. But if I want to go work for the airport and put in snarky black and brown vending machine with cool hats on it, right? Forgot, that's one of our brands, right? Then that's where I would get the DBE certification, okay? See the difference. Now, Michigan Minority Supplier, and we just call them MMSDC. Say it with me, MMSDC. Okay, so they are the home of all things minority business, and that's the state designee. The national covers all of our states, and there is a fabulous, fabulous conference that happens every year. I would love for you guys to come and go. I think they even have student opportunities. They have volunteer opportunities. So if you can get there, and like when they did the national conference here in Detroit, it was a dream. And I met so many great businesses all over the country, which I'm now still connected to. And that was probably like 9 years ago. So they connect with certified minority-owned businesses with corporations. I already told you that. They give you hands-on learning. You can volunteer at their events, which gives you connections, and they're expensive. Go online, write it down, and go online and see how much the memberships cost and how much their stuff costs. It's expensive. So if you can go for free as students, volunteer for everything you can. It gets you in the door, get you meeting people, and people see your work ethic. And then you can start to build relationships, and eventually you can get a job. I've gotten jobs from volunteering. Even if it wasn't the direct volunteer person, it was someone saw me volunteering. I've gotten clients from volunteering. So this is where you have your supplier diversity and all that. So I've talked about why I volunteer. How do you think that volunteering for the MMSDC could help you build business connections or personal connections?
You can get information from others around you while you're volunteering. Give them ideas and other resources that can help you.
Absolutely. So what he said is that you get to kind of, like, I like to say, you would like to be a fly on the wall, right? And just soak it up. You can be a sponge. You don't even necessarily have to meet everybody, but just to hear everything and kind of be in the environment, be in the room. Like we say, be in the room. Half the battle is just getting in that room. Well, there's secret doors in the room. You don't always have to walk into the expensive $1,000 a conference room. You can volunteer and still get in that same room and then be sitting next to these CEOs, right? Just rubbing elbows. Sometimes just being in the air and feeling the vibe, okay? What else? That was great. That was a great answer. What else? All great answers. Everybody's so good. Oh, yes, sir. Right here on the screen. How could volunteering at the MMSDC help you build your business connections? Or personal, academic, like just any connections. Okay, I'm gonna ask the question in reverse. Is there anything that would harm you from volunteering? Let's ask the reverse. Like in academic, sometimes we ask the questions purposely in reverse because we know the affirmative action answer. But is there any reason why you would not? Let's start there. Is there any reason why you would not go and volunteer? No. Is there any reason why you would not volunteer? No. Is there any reason why you would not? All right. Maybe time, right? Maybe access. Maybe you don't know about it. Or maybe you just don't have a way to get there. There might be some things, right? But above and beyond barriers, right? Is there any logical reason if you have access, location, transportation, and free schedule, what would stop you from wanting to do that? Nothing. Yourself, right? Right. Or your own lack of knowledge of why you should do it, right? Now, before today, would you think, I want to go volunteer at this? Are you interested possibly in volunteering now? Okay. All right. So I am going to be volunteering, I think, this year. I signed up. I was not going to pay for that conference because I'm trying to get the DBE certification. I'm going to be paying for that. I don't need to pay for the conference. This is one of my first clients. Actually, the very first check that I ever cashed, in the very first time I used our DRJ banking account, it was for this organization. And I created a leadership academy, workforce development for this conference that I will be volunteering at. I did put a speaker's request in. I wasn't selected. That's okay. I'm not really one of their members. So, a lot of times they want to feature their members, which is understandable, right? It helps to elevate their brand. But they invited me to come volunteer. So, yay, I'll volunteer, right? So, the bigger picture, why does this training matter? Because I said so, no, I'm just playing. Read the quote for me. Let's see. Who would like to take this? Yes, sir. Yes. Yeah. How many of you are trying to, I know you have a lot of people who are into sports in this room, or athletes in this room. You know that if you want to improve your speed, let's say, what do you have to do that? Train. Okay? When you want to be the best or win with your team, what do you guys have to do together? Practice. Train. Practice. You say all the right things. Okay, what else do you need to do? If you really are trying to grow to that next level, is it maybe you got to change your diet? Maybe, right? How you eat, right? What else is important? If you're trying to get to that next level, you want to play for Michigan State, you want to play for U of M, you want to be selected, or you want to be the one that you academically get that award. What do you have to do? Attitude is everything, yeah. We started out at the beginning, we talked about growth mindset. Part of your growth mindset is having to be willing to change. So right now, you're in the room right now, and you came in one person. And when you walk out, you're going to be a little different, right? You're still the same yous, but you're going to be walking out just a little bit different. And as you grow, this is training. We're training. Training is a part of, you got to train your mind, you got to train your body, and you have to train yourself professionally for what you want to do in your life. Okay? So change is important. Now, DRJ, just to kind of give you an understanding, we move with strategy and purpose on purpose. I say that all the time. I'm living my purpose. This is not just to get rich. I could be rich doing so many other things. I don't do this to get rich. I know I got to eat, you know what I'm saying? Pay for my mortgage, maintain, my cars and all of the things, all the things, right? And I have been so blessed. As a business owner, I have been able to purchase 2 homes, drive a nice car, get ready to send my son to college, send myself back to college a few times at least for different things. I've traveled, I have nice things, right? And I'm not hurting for anything, but I'm also not trying to get rich off of this. I'm really trying to live in my purpose, right? And God keeps providing. So I know maybe not everyone has a belief in a higher power, but I do, and that's kind of how I guide myself. And so that's what makes this organization special, is that it's guided on purpose. So we are really trying to unify these brands that you have learned about. We want to take our consulting and training literally all over the world. And we want to start in places like Micronesia. We already have national clients. Being national is not big enough to me anymore. I've already done that. I did that within the first 2 years. So what do I do now? Go around the world, right? So we're going to leverage our certifications and our global funding. And everything we do is all about our our expansion. So if that clock is right, we got a little bit of time before they shut us out this building. And so I'm going to hit a little bit of the start of 2, because start of 2, I think, is only like 9-10 slides. This actually was a little longer because I wanted to give you a little more foundation. But before we take a little hot minute, I want to just kind of ask you your final thoughts. And round robin, everyone must speak. What is one thing that you learned today that surprised you? And it's here on the board here, or I say the board, our screen board. And how do you see these concepts applying to your future career? So I'm going to give you a moment as I power down these slides for you to answer that, and I'll be bringing up my next set of slides, okay? So I'm just going to give you a moment. Think about that to yourself. Write it down, some things, because I know you learned a lot today. Yes, I know. I can see you like, dang, I thought I got out of school today. Yes, sir. You got a little more school today. And I'm going to just take us into our last slide, and I'm going to get this going here while I get the other slide going. Okay. All right. 2 more minutes. Not even 1 more minute. All right. Who would like to go first? Oh, everybody's like, ah. I love it. All right.
One thing that I learned is value. I didn't really, as a word value, I didn't really think of that different like that deeply. But that showed me like the more so like the things that value and how it should be portrayed and how it's move forward a lot.
That's great. And he said, you know, it helped him really think deeper about value and how, you know, if I'm hearing you correctly, that it just really helped to push the envelope for what value means to you. And so I just want to, just in your answer, invite you to think about that you are a consumer too, and that you're also seeking value. And so the value that you seek is also the value you want to receive. And so just remember that as you move forward with value in your life. And that's not just business-wise, that's even friendships, relationships. There should be a value-based situation in anything you're doing. A reciprocal value. All right. Yes, sir.
I think I said I learned was the importance of networking and how simple connections and you surround yourself with builds you as a person in your business and your image.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So he's like, you surround yourself, who you keep your company with. We're working in the final stages of our ebook that will be published this year. And one of our chapters is, the company you keep. It's like, it's all about your friends. And also it's a couple chapters on friendships. You know, for my own personal journey, I've had friends that have taken me a long way. I've also had friends that have caused damage, right? Not always are the right friends. And you know what I'm talking about, because you probably got some friends that when you graduate, they're going to get canceled off that list, possibly. You're going to be some people that are going to be on that list for a lifetime. And over time, more and more people are going to come off that list. More people are going to come onto the list. So people come into your life sometimes for, every time for a reason. Sometimes it's for a day, sometimes it's for a season, sometimes it's for a lifetime. And there's no mistakes. You were supposed to meet everybody you were supposed to meet. So this is good. Network. I love it. Yes, sir. You ready? I see you. I see you. Tell me, what are you thinking? Oh, like I had eye contact with Jalen, but both. Okay, fight it out. Who wants to go first?
I really like, I don't know, like Michigan really is. It's like the biggest manufacturer and secondly agriculture. So I just really didn't know like how impactful it really was.
Yes. What he said, in case the fan, how impactful Michigan really is. You know, I had the pleasure of serving in the capacities where I had to sell our state. And that's how I got to know how great we were. There's so many people that are from here that don't know even the town next door. So I implore you through this internship to really learn the state and get value from it. Again, that value word, there's a lot of value to give back. And there's a lot of people looking for you to impart knowledge, education, and opportunities upon you may not even know are looking for you. So the more you learn about the state, the more you learn about the resources and the value it brings the world. And important, before I go to my last but not least answer, your network is your net worth. But also know that as Detroit goes, the world goes. I will say it again. As Detroit goes, the world goes. What you see happening to us is usually the trend happening behind everybody. If we decline, they decline. And that goes all the way back to basically the early 1900s. So studying Detroit's history will help you understand Michigan's history because we are the largest city in Michigan. All right. Last but not least, Jalen. Yeah, the certifications. Yes. I love that you all gave different parts, and so different parts resonated with you. The certifications is key. People make millions of dollars off of their ability to connect and utilize different ways to make money. Your customer is not always out in the street. Your customer might be the business next door. And so without having that certification, you can't get there. So this is great. There was another question that I asked you. What else did I ask you? Oh, how do you see, just anyone, group answer, how do you see you utilizing these concepts for your career? Or did you learn something that you were like, oh, I could use this one day? Yes. I saw your eyes light up when you were like, I can go get one of these. I can go right now. Like, yes, you're 18 now, right? Yes, you can go right now. Yep. Yes, sir.
I definitely say that the networking are really taking part.
Yeah, the networking.
Getting around people, very successful people really bring you up in information and stuff. And those type of people that's very successful really bring you further. Like,
Yes.
Where you are.
Yes. Did you hear what he said? Okay, because y'all was talking. Don't do that to him. Tell him again what you said.
The networking, being around people that's bigger than you and very successful really brings you up in information and ideas, and just being around them, like you said, really bring you up and be even better.
And just being in the room. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, that's great. That's a good question. So I am going to look into that. I know that they are English speaking. There probably is some different Asian dialects. Right now, I am beginner level Spanish, a little bit beginner level French, beginner level Japanese. So when I had to go on an exchange trip to Japan, I had to learn. And going back to networking relationships, I had a student in my marketing course who was from Japan, and he was having a hard time at the school because a lot of the professors were giving him the language barrier. He was taking a hard course, but he was not by any means not capable. He just was having a language barrier. So once I helped him with his test and got him into the right office, when it was time for me to go to Japan, he was like, Professor Johnson, there's no way that I can let you go to my country and not. And he gave me a book, and I tried to give it back to him in my American way, like I borrowed. He was like, I'm not giving you this. You do not try to give me this book back. So he really wanted me to learn the language and the culture too. So it goes back to networking. Your networks are not always people who are higher than you in life. Sometimes it's your student, right? Your employee. Not every We cannot look at levels when we look at networks too. Sometimes people don't want to network with folks that don't look like they have anything. But some of the business, especially in our business, a lot of the business owners we deal with, they're in construction or in something that's not a cutesy job, you know? They don't dress like I dress. But I promise you they got more money than all of us. You know what I'm saying? So you cannot look at how people look. I've met a lot of business owners that are wearing what you're wearing right now, very casual, like you can go work out. Nothing wrong, no shade, right? But if you saw a gentleman who's like a billionaire in this, you might not assume he's a billionaire. You know what I'm saying? So people judge, especially us, by what we look like. So just know that. Never confuse level by who you should talk to. I'm telling you, I've even had the guy who was unlocking the door unlock the door, if that makes sense. So never the security, okay? As a matter of fact, security is your friend. If you want to really get to know anybody in any establishment, get to know the security there. They'll tell you everything you want to know about the place, who comes, who goes, and if you ever need to get in, they might let you in. So get to know the security. So, okay, we only got a couple minutes, but I'm just going to jump in and give you a little preview.